He was dead, 4 days dead, and then he walked out. This shouldn't be happening. Not now, not like this. Lazarus was dead, his body already stiff, his skin cold, the smell of decay clinging to the air. But right now, he's standing, breathing, alive. But let's rewind, because this story, it's not just about a miracle. It's about waiting when God is silent. It's about trust when hope is buried. And it starts with two sisters who thought Jesus didn't care. Bethany wasn't just any village. It was home. The kind of place where neighbors knew your name, where laughter echoed through open windows, where the smell of fresh bread meant someone cared enough to share. And in this house, 3 hearts were bound together. Lazarus, the brother who carried the weight of the family. Mary, the dreamer who sat at Jesus' feet. And Martha, the doer, always fixing, always serving. Lazarus never got sick. Not like this. He was the strong one, the one who carried the water, who repaired the roof, who made sure his sisters were safe. But now, his hands trembled, his voice was gone, and with every labored breath, the unthinkable crept closer. What if he doesn't wake up?
We can't wait any longer. I'm sending for Jesus.
Because here's the thing, Jesus wasn't just a teacher to them, he was family. He'd eaten at their table, told stories by their fire, laughed until their sides hurt. If anyone could fix this, it was him.
Take this to the master. Don't stop for anything. Go.
The moment that note left Bethany, time split in two. For Martha and Mary, the clock ticked slower. Every hour stretched like a lifetime. But for Jesus, the Bible says he stayed where he was. 2 more days. Let that sink in. The man who walked on water, who healed with a touch, waited.
Rabbi, shouldn't we go? Lazarus is like a brother to you.
This sickness will not end in death. It is for God's glory.
But here's the kicker. Jesus knew Lazarus would die, and he let it happen. Why? Because sometimes the miracle isn't in the healing, it's in the resurrection. And just like that, the waiting was over. But the story, it was only beginning. 2 days later, Jesus finally shows up, but it's too late. Lazarus is already wrapped in grave clothes, sealed in a tomb. And Martha? Oh, she's heartbroken and furious.
Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.
Ouch. That's not faith talking. That's grief. The kind that claws its way out. And Jesus? He doesn't scold her. He doesn't give a sermon. He looks her in the eyes and says,
Your brother will rise again.
Martha thinks he's talking about the last day, some far-off resurrection. But Jesus isn't making a theology point. He's about to rewrite reality.
But Lord, by now there will be a stench.
She wasn't wrong. 4 days in that tomb meant decay, meant bloat, meant the kind of smell that clings to your clothes and haunts your dreams. But Jesus didn't flinch. He just looked at her, really looked at her, like he was staring straight through her fear.
Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?
Now here's the part most people miss. Jesus doesn't just say rise, he prays first, out loud. Why? Because this isn't magic. It's a conversation with his Father.
Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me.
This wasn't just a prayer. This was a declaration, a war cry. Jesus wasn't asking, he was thanking, because he already knew what was about to happen. And then he shouts like a warrior king,
Lazarus, come forth.
And in that moment, the air changed, like the pause before thunder, like the whole world was holding its breath. No one moved, no one breathed, because something was moving inside the tomb.
I'm gonna be sick.
This wasn't a ghost. This wasn't a metaphor. This was Lazarus, alive, his skin warm again, his lungs gulping air like a man drowning. The grave clothes clung to him, the spices spilling onto the dirt as he stumbled forward.
Take off the grave clothes and let him go.
And that's when it hit them. This wasn't just a miracle, it was a rehearsal, a preview of what Jesus would do for himself and for everyone just a few weeks later. Here's the crazy part. This miracle cost Jesus something. The religious leaders didn't celebrate, they panicked. And right after this, they plotted to kill him. Jesus didn't just raise Lazarus, he signed his own death warrant. Because love like this, it's dangerous, it's disruptive. And it's why this story isn't just about Lazarus, it's about you. Maybe you're in your own Bethany, waiting, grieving, wondering why God hasn't shown up yet. But what if his delay isn't neglect? What if it's the setup for a miracle you can't even imagine? If you have enjoyed this video and you want to watch more amazing Bible stories, feel free to click on the story shown to you on the screen now. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to be amongst the first to watch the next Bible story. And once again, stay blessed.